right? All right. Last year, we started off this series with Kirby Dach. I said that he would go third overall back then in December, and he ended up going third overall. 2 years ago, we started off this series with Adam Boqvist, a player who I said the Vancouver Canucks could probably take where they were going to pick in about the 5, 6, or 7 mark. He ended up going 8th overall. So this year, let's talk about it. Why I want. We're bringing the series back, but instead of focusing only on the Vancouver Canucks, because the past 20-ish videos of the Why I Want series have all been Vancouver Canucks related, let's focus on just the prospect themselves. Because, as I said in my video a few days ago, Why I Want doesn't really work properly if you're doing it with the Vancouver Canucks, because the Canucks might not even have their first. And I want to talk about these first round guys, these top 10 guys in detail, because I love hockey, I love the prospects, and I love talking about them. But it doesn't make sense to talk about them in the context of Why I Want for the Canucks. So instead, we're doing this just about the prospect, and we'll talk about any of the teams that I'm a fan of that could use this player. Episode 1, it's the first overall Lafreniere. Alexis Lafrenière is going to be the first overall pick in this year's 2020 NHL entry draft, and if there's only one player who's going to challenge him for that, it's probably Quinton Byfield, but at this point, it looks like Lafrenière has him beat, and it looks like it will remain that way for the remainder of the draft season. We see it every single year. Oh, Kaapo Kakko is challenging for first. He has a good chance of going first. Some people have him going first. We saw this 2 years ago. Hey, Andrei Svechnikov is a guy who could probably challenge for first, a guy who some people had as first for a very small amount of time. Heck, even Filip Zadina was challenging for second overall when Svechnikov kinda strayed away from the Dahlin a little bit. But this year, it looks like it's going to be Lafreniere. He's ranked first amongst everybody, and for good reason. Because this season, Alexis Lafrenière in the QMJHL has 70 points in 32 games played. He's over 2 points a game, and he's leading the league by far, pretty much. The second best player in the QMJHL in points is Cedric Paré, who is his teammate, and who is 8 points behind Lafrenière. Now, the numbers kind of really do tell the whole picture. The guy's at 2 points a game, the guy's the best player in the CHL probably, and he is slated to play at the World Juniors later in this week. Is it week? I don't know. I don't know when this video is going to come out. Yes, this is coming out on Christmas. I am pre-recording this video a few days before because I am going on a trip. So this is your Christmas gift this year, a Why I Want video. But later in the World Juniors, Alexis Lafrenière will be playing on Team Canada, and people are expecting a huge role for this player. Because he was there last year, and he wasn't really utilized all too great. He wasn't really put in the best position to succeed, but a lot of that is going to change this year, when I believe he's going to be given a bigger opportunity to shine, because he will probably only play this one World Juniors in his career. Because after the World Juniors and after this season concludes, Lafrenière is expected to head over into the NHL and just totally turn heads and destroy worlds over there. And that's something that you'll hear everywhere. In fact, Lafrenière, taking a look at how things are, there's a very common belief that if Lafrenière was just a few weeks older, because he was born late into the draft year, he was born October 11th, 2001, if he was just a few weeks older, he probably would have gone first overall in the 2019 NHL draft. He probably would have forced Jack Hughes to number 2. He probably would have forced Kaapo Kakko to number 3. Because Lafrenière is just that good. And if we wanted to talk about what makes him so special, well, let's talk about that a little bit now. Lafrenière is special because everything he does is at such a high level. He will be a franchise talent because the way he can change the game is incomparable to many other NHL players. There are other players who have gone that have had that franchise talent before. Jack Hughes is supposed to be like that. Then you have Dahlin, who is a defenseman, so he is in a little bit of a different territory. But other players are like Eichel. Other players are like Matthews. And you have players who can totally define a franchise. Lafrenière can define whatever franchise he gets drafted to, because he is so good at making everybody around him so much better. He does this through elite hockey IQ, fantastic puck skills, and an overall ability to slow the game down to the point where it's just his own ball game. He does things to what he wants to do. He does things to his own standard, and nobody can compete because nobody can keep up. Now, Lafreniere isn't like a crazy fast Connor McDavid-like deking player who can just totally control the game with his speed. Lafreniere can control the game with his brain, because the play is usually dictated by how Lafreniere wants things to go. He's got the capacity to process the game at such a high level that everything that he wants to do just comes out naturally. He's 6'1", 192 pounds, so he's got a really solid NHL-worthy frame. And everything that he wants to do, he's just able to do it. The way he plays the game is arguably just flawless. But obviously the keyword there is arguably. I'm not going to say that he is flawless because that would imply that he is the perfect player, that in which nobody really is. But when it comes to perfection, you can't get as close to perfection than Lafreniere. He is probably the most perfect player in this draft, and he will come into the NHL next year. He will be an impact player. He will get, he could even reach 70 or 80 points next year, which is really just crazy expectations for a guy who's only 18. But I'm laying that on the line because Lafreniere is that good. Whichever team drafts him first overall is going to be getting a franchise-defining talent. I'm not going to say generational, because generational is the McDavids, is the Crosbys, is the Lafleurs, is the Gretzkys and the Lemieux. I don't necessarily think Lafreniere is there. But franchise? Hell yeah, he's franchise. He's going to be better than Jack Hughes. He's going to be better than Pettersson. He's going to be better than Matthews. The hype around this player is so good for a reason, because he's just a point-scoring machine whose numbers pretty much tell the entire story. 2 points a game in the QMJHL in one's draft year. He is the best QMJHL prospect since Sidney Crosby. Nathan McKinnon wasn't this good. Jonathan Drouin wasn't this good. Pierre-Luc Dubois wasn't this good. Nico Hischier was nowhere near this good. Lafreniere in himself is the best NHL first overall pick, and he will be the best one since Connor McDavid, pretty much. You could argue Rasmus Dahlin, but he's a defenseman, so his circumstances are a little bit different. But in terms of forward prospects, it goes McDavid and then Lafreniere. When you've been touted to go first overall for the better part of 2 years, there's something special about your game, and we're seeing it now. When Lafreniere played in his first season in the QMJHL as a rookie 2 years ago, he was at 80 points in 60 games. He was challenging Filip Zadina for first in the league in rookie scoring. Filip Zadina went 6th overall in that year, and he could have gone 3rd overall. That's a debate that could be discussed another day, but Zadina was a top 5 talent in the draft in terms of where everybody thought he was going to go, and this guy was battling with Lafreniere for rookie scoring title glory. And that was 2 years ago. Take a look at it right now. Lafreniere is in a league of his own when it comes to scoring points in the QMJHL. That is why he's going to go first overall. His crazy hockey IQ, goal-scoring ability, and playmaking ability are why he's going to go first overall. His immediate impact in the NHL next year, which I'm going to guarantee at least 50 points, is why he's going to go first overall. His uncanny game-changing ability is why he's going to go first overall. And it's not even really close. I mean, Byfield is there. Byfield is a crazy, crazy good player too. I would love for Byfield to go first overall because I called it 2-3 years ago, but Lafreniere looks like he's running away with that title, and I'm just going to have to sit here and accept that. Whichever team drafts him, whether that's Detroit because they're currently last place in the league right now, or Montreal because through some fallacy they're going to trade up for the first overall pick because everybody says that's going to happen, Lafreniere is going to change your team. He's going to do that, and he will be a franchise player for years and years to come. So that concludes why I want Whether you're a Red Wings fan or a Canadiens fan or maybe even a Canucks fan, I hope you enjoyed this video. Social Trolls 99, and bye.